Greetings one and all, and welcome to another Dark Rider movie analysis. I am the Nightmare Rider, Mage of Mine, reminding you, as always, that even a cheeseburger can be deconstructed to its original source. Werewolves Children is the newest film directed by Mamoru Hosoda, known for his family-orientated epic Summer Wars and the Digimon movie Our War Game. Werewolves Children shares similar themes to Summer Wars, although focuses more on the development of a smaller cast than bringing a large cast together. The werewolf motif is used as a fantastical frame of reference to show how Yuki and Ami grow up, starting from early childhood and leading to finding their place in the world as young adults. There are a fair few cliches leading up to the wolf children's birth, such as how a troubled supernatural father falls in love with a human girl. However, as I always say, it's how the cliches are used that matters. The film is very much split into two halves. The first half of the film is focused on Hannah, starting from the moment she meets up with the Wolfman and how she faces the challenges of raising two werewolves as a single parent. Unlike some other forms of popular media involving werewolf romance, Twilight, Hannah does not fall in love with the Wolfman simply because he's an attractive, troubled soul. Hannah takes a curiosity to his quiet and reserved nature, but at no point does she get into a situation where the Wolfman is manipulative or abusive to her. She finds him to be an interesting enigma, and likewise the Wolfman gradually reveals more about himself to her simply because she does not find him threatening. A fair chunk of his time is spent with the two building their relationship, making a foundation for romance was believable, and showing how Hannah is a very compassionate and loving person. Despite it being an initial shock to her, Hannah accepts the Wolfman's true identity as a werewolf because she already knows that he is a patient and sincere man. He wants little more than have a place to call home, which Hannah is all too happy to provide. The fact that we see the beginning of their life together, leading up to the point where both Yuki and Ami are born, all gives us an emotional foundation that will be the basis for Hannah's dedication to her children. The Wolfman's tragic death is a critical moment in the film, as Hannah has to fight through her grief to be constantly on the ball with her wild-natured wolf children, hiding them from nosy neighbours, researching everything to keep them healthy, including an oddly comical emergency, and her dedication to fixing a derelict house in the countryside. Overcoming these adversities makes the story more emotionally involving. We want to see Hannah succeed in giving her children a safe life, but makes it even more satisfying when we see this kindness and dedication pay off from the generosity of the community she settles in. While the film could have easily used the annoying trope of humans shunning the children as monsters when they find out, the secret is well kept enough so that the villagers flock to Hannah, not with flaming torches and pitchforks, but vegetable goods and other things to help make life easier for her and her family. Hannah's development does not completely end at the halfway point, it just takes a back seat to the development of her children. The transition to the second half of the film is done through an amazing animation set piece, in which Hannah runs through the snow-covered fields with children in wolf form, wild and free, finally finding a place where they can be happy and free as themselves. A central theme of this film that Hannah states early on is that she wants her children to be able to choose for themselves if they live their lives as wolves or as humans. Out of the two siblings, Yuki has always been the extroverted and energetic child, constantly exploring the world around her and shifting into wolf form on a whim. Ami, by contrast, has always been very introverted and largely fearful of the outside world. You would initially suspect that Yuki would be the one to live as a wolf, while Ami is the one who would live as a human. However, this is the reverse of what the two children go up to be. Because of Yuki's extroversion and curiosity, she demands from a young age that she goes to school like all of the other girls, but to do so she has to hide her wolf form and learn to interact with everyone as a human. While her extroversion does make her very sociable with the other girls, none of her classmates find the wilderness quite as fascinating as Yuki does, so she abandons the wild wolf side of herself altogether. Ami, on the other hand, is never very sociable or engaged with any other children at all, hinted at early on in the film by his question of why wolves are always the bad guys. Despite his initial fear of nature, his curiosity gets the better of him during his snow run, leading him to accidentally fall in the river and nearly drown. Despite the near-death experience, his attempt to catch the kingfisher makes him all the more fascinated with the natural world around him. He comes to view an old fox as his teacher, finding solace in exploring the vast wilderness far away from human civilization. This creates considerable tension between the two siblings, not least because Hannah worries about Ami's safety. Hana is never overbearing or overprotective. She simply has a very realistic fear that Ame could end up dead like her father, and wants to try and balance this with what she understands to be best for him in the long term. One of the few criticisms I can give to this film, which is honestly still a minor nitpick, would be that in places, some of the life events are quite heavily abridged in order to get to the key stages. Because of this, it isn't entirely clear why Yuki and Ame have such strong feelings that they must live as each other do. Perhaps some more time spent with their intervening years of elementary school to show how this tension sprang from their early childhood would have been beneficial. But considering the film is already 2 hours long, I think I can let this slide. Their fight does reflect the growing sense of shame that Yuki feels about her wolf side, not least because of the misunderstanding of a transfer student. The film continues to avoid annoying cliches that pop up in werewolf-related films, as the transfer student, Sohei, is also dealing with his own internal troubles due to his mother marrying a new stepfather, making him very blunt in expressing his observations. He questions if his suspicions of Yuki being a werewolf are true, even after Yuki's retaliation, but never treats it as a dark secret that he must expose. He simply instead seeks to properly understand Yuki, which easily resolves their differences, helping Yuki finally accept the wolf as a part of her, despite choosing to live as a human. Ame also concludes that his destiny is with the forest animals, however Hana still chases him out of fear, almost ending up dead herself. She is thankfully rescued by Ame, which helps her finally realise that despite their young age, both of her children have grown to find their places in the world. Through the heartbreaking choice to let go, she realises that everything she aimed for when they were born, everything she worked for and everything she promised to the Wolfman, it has all paid off in the end. Hana has lived her fairy tale life, and we have felt every single success and failure they have taken to get here. Wolf Children, Yuki and Ame is an amazing film. It is beautiful in every sense of the word, spectacular animation that brings the children to life with fluid transformations, an emotional story of growing up, and characters that are impossible not to love. Special mention should also go to the musical score, which is perfectly placed in the scenes where we need the biggest emotional investments with grand orchestral music. There may be a few botches here and there, primarily in the mid-film pacing and blending of traditional animated characters with CGI backgrounds, but absolutely everything else win-backs any points I could possibly take off. Wolf Children, Yuki and Ame deserves nothing less than a full S rank. Until the next review, this is the Nightmare Rider, Mage of Mind, signing out.